The Korean Peninsula, once a unified kingdom, was divided post World War II along the 38th parallel. The Soviet Union controlled the north, the United States the south. The Korean War erupted in 1950, lasting 3 years with millions of casualties. An armistice in 1953 halted the fighting, but no peace treaty was signed. The two Koreas remained technically at war, separated by the heavily guarded DMZ. North Korea, under the Kim dynasty, became isolated, prioritizing military over economic progress. South Korea, in contrast, developed into a thriving democracy with a booming economy. Despite diplomatic efforts, tensions persist, with North Korea's nuclear ambitions posing a significant threat. Occasional inter-Korean summits offer hope, but are often followed by renewed hostility. The unpredictable nature of North Korea's leadership continues to challenge regional stability. The Korean Peninsula's rugged terrain has shaped its history and conflict. Over 70% is mountainous, limiting agriculture and urban development. South Korea's cities, like Seoul, are hemmed in by mountains, creating vulnerabilities. North Korea uses its terrain for defensive strategies with underground tunnels and bunkers. The harsh winters and treacherous roads add complexity to military operations. South Korea's extensive coastline and ports, like Busan, boost its global trade and strategic advantage. This access allows for easy resupply and naval power projection. North Korea, despite a significant coastline, has limited naval capabilities and global access. The Yellow Sea is strategically important, with its shallow waters and islands suited for naval defenses. Control of the Yellow Sea is crucial for naval operations and interdicting enemy shipping lanes. The DMZ, established in 1953, is one of the most heavily militarized borders. It separates South Korea's modern infrastructure from North Korea's austere landscapes. The DMZ paradoxically serves as both a buffer and a potential flashpoint for conflict. Despite tensions, it has become a haven for biodiversity, highlighting the interplay between conflict and nature. The DMZ reflects the enduring pain of a divided nation, with families separated for decades. South Korea's modern military contrasts with North Korea's vast but aging forces. South Korea's advanced weaponry and integration with the US provide a technological edge. North Korea relies on sheer numbers and asymmetric warfare tactics. South Korea's air force and advanced tanks outmatch North Korea's outdated equipment. North Korea's artillery poses a significant threat to Seoul and its surroundings. South Korea's technological edge shapes the balance of power on the peninsula. Its air force, with advanced jets, outclasses North Korea's aging fleet. South Korea's modern tanks and artillery systems provide a significant advantage. Advanced command and control systems enhance South Korea's battlefield management. North Korea struggles to keep pace, relying on outdated equipment and limited resources. North Korea's nuclear weapons program alters the strategic calculus. Its nuclear arsenal poses a significant threat to regional and global security. The potential use of nuclear weapons would have catastrophic consequences. Diplomatic efforts and sanctions have had limited success in curbing North Korea's ambitions. The nuclear threat complicates deterrence and crisis management on the peninsula. North Korea invests in asymmetric warfare to exploit South Korea's vulnerabilities. Its vast artillery arsenal threatens Seoul and surrounding areas. Long-range rocket launchers amplify the threat to military and civilian targets. North Korea's cyber units conduct high-profile attacks on South Korean institutions. These cyber capabilities highlight the growing threat in cyberspace. A tale of two Koreas. The economic landscape mirrors its stark military divide. South Korea, a global economic powerhouse. North Korea's economy remains stunted by isolation and sanctions. This disparity shapes the capacity for prolonged conflict, a reflection of fundamentally different approaches to governance and development. South Korea's economic strength is a critical asset in any assessment of its military capabilities. Its robust economy provides the financial foundation for its advanced military, funding its procurement of cutting-edge weaponry, research and development of indigenous defense technologies, and training of its armed forces to a high standard of readiness. This economic backbone allows South Korea to maintain a credible deterrent against North Korean aggression and ensures its ability to sustain a prolonged conflict if necessary. The technological prowess of South Korea's industries, particularly in areas such as shipbuilding, aerospace, and electronics, directly benefits its military capabilities. Its shipyards produce advanced warships, its aerospace industry manufactures cutting-edge fighter jets and helicopters, and its electronics giants supply the sophisticated sensors, communication systems, and electronic warfare equipment that give its military a technological edge. This synergy between the civilian and military sectors is a key strength of South Korea's defense posture. Beyond its ability to fund its own defense, South Korea's economic strength also makes it a valuable ally for the United States and other regional partners. Its economic contributions to regional security arrangements and its ability to provide logistical support in the event of a conflict further enhance its strategic importance. Moreover, South Korea's economic resilience, demonstrated by its ability to weather global financial crises and economic shocks, ensures that it would be a reliable partner in times of crisis. South Korea's economic success has also fostered a high standard of living for its citizens, creating a society that is invested in its own security and resilient in the face of external threats. This societal resilience, rooted in economic well-being and shared prosperity, is a critical intangible asset that would be difficult for North Korea to match. North Korea's economic fragility represents a significant vulnerability in any assessment of its warfighting capabilities. Its isolated and underdeveloped economy, already struggling to meet the basic needs of its population, would be severely strained by the demands of a prolonged conflict. This economic vulnerability could undermine its ability to sustain military operations, potentially leading to economic collapse even if it could achieve initial military successes. The chronic shortages of food, fuel, and other essential goods that plague North Korea's peacetime economy would be exacerbated by the disruptions of war. Its limited industrial capacity, hampered by outdated technology, and a lack of access to essential inputs, would struggle to replace military equipment lost in combat or produce the munitions needed to sustain a prolonged fight. This material scarcity would severely limit its ability to wage a protracted war. Moreover, North Korea's reliance on external sources for critical goods such as fuel and food makes it vulnerable to economic sanctions and blockades. Its dependence on China, its primary trading partner and benefactor, could become a liability in a conflict, as China might be reluctant to support a war that could destabilize the region or invite international condemnation. This dependence on external actors for essential supplies represents a critical strategic weakness. North Korea's economic vulnerability is not merely a theoretical concern, it has real-world implications for its military capabilities. Reports of fuel shortages limiting training exercises, outdated equipment hampering its military's effectiveness, and difficulties in providing adequate supplies to its troops highlight the practical constraints imposed by its weak economy. This economic fragility, unless addressed, would severely limit its ability to achieve its military objectives in any conflict with South Korea. The Korean Peninsula at the crossroads of Northeast Asia has long been a focal point of great power rivalry. The geopolitical landscape has shifted significantly, impacting regional security dynamics. The rise of China, Russia's resurgence, and evolving U.S. relationships add complexity. The U.S. remains a staunch ally of South Korea, committed to its defense. However, it faces challenges from Russia and a more assertive China. Both seek to expand influence in Northeast Asia. This raises questions about the U.S.-led security architecture's sustainability. China, South Korea's largest trading partner and North Korea's main ally, plays a pivotal role in the security calculus. China aims to maintain stability and prevent North Korea's collapse. It balances support with concerns over North Korea's nuclear ambitions. This leads to a dual-track approach. China provides support while pressuring Pyongyang. Russia seeks to reassert influence in Northeast Asia. It cultivates political and security ties with North Korea, viewing North Korea as a geopolitical lever. Russia often resists tougher sanctions on North Korea. It seeks to water down UN resolutions condemning North Korea. The alliance between the United States and South Korea, forged in the crucible of the Korean War, stands as a cornerstone of deterrence on the Korean Peninsula. This enduring partnership, based on shared security interests and democratic values, has been a stabilizing force in the region for over 7 decades, providing a credible counterweight to North Korea's military ambitions and ensuring the security of South Korea. The United States maintains a significant military presence in South Korea, with approximately 28,500 troops stationed at various bases across the country. This forward deployment of U.S. forces serves as a tangible demonstration of the U.S. commitment to South Korea's defense and acts as a tripwire, ensuring a swift and decisive response in the event of North Korean aggression. The U.S. and South Korean militaries conduct regular joint exercises, enhancing their interoperability and demonstrating their combined military might. Beyond its military dimension, the U.S.-South Korea alliance extends to close cooperation in areas such as intelligence sharing, missile defense, and cybersecurity. The two countries share sensitive intelligence on North Korea's military capabilities and intentions, collaborate on developing and deploying missile defense systems to counter the North Korean missile threat, and work together to enhance their cyber defenses against North Korean cyber attacks. The U.S.-South Korea alliance, while a formidable deterrent, faces challenges in the evolving geopolitical landscape of Northeast Asia. The rise of China, North Korea's growing nuclear and missile capabilities, and questions about the long-term sustainability of the U.S. global military presence have all contributed to a more complex and uncertain security environment. Maintaining the strength and credibility of the U.S.-South Korea alliance will require continued adaptation and close coordination between Washington and Seoul. North Korea stands as one of the most isolated countries in the world. Its self-imposed isolation, driven by its ideology of Juche, has left it heavily reliant on China. China provides essential aid and diplomatic cover. However, relations have been strained by North Korea's nuclear tests. Its isolation limits foreign investment and access to international markets. In the 21st century, the battle space extends far beyond traditional land, sea, and air domains. Cyber warfare, the use of digital tools and techniques to disrupt, degrade, or destroy an adversary's computer systems and networks, has emerged as a critical aspect of modern conflict. The Korean Peninsula, with its stark technological divide and history of cyber skirmishes, stands as a potential flashpoint for cyber warfare, where a single spark could ignite a wider conflagration. South Korea, a global leader in information technology and internet connectivity, has witnessed firsthand the disruptive potential of cyber attacks. In recent years, it has faced a barrage of cyber attacks, many attributed to North Korea, targeting its businesses, government agencies, and critical infrastructure. These attacks, ranging from distributed denial-of-service attacks that cripple websites and online services, to sophisticated intrusions aimed at stealing data or planting malware, have highlighted the vulnerability of even technologically advanced nations to cyber threats. North Korea, despite its relative technological backwardness in many areas, has emerged as a significant cyber threat. Its cyber warfare units, believed to be highly skilled and well-resourced, have demonstrated a capacity to conduct sophisticated cyber operations, often targeting South Korea and its allies. These attacks, motivated by a combination of political, economic, and military objectives, have ranged from propaganda dissemination and data theft to financial crimes and disruption of critical infrastructure. The digital battlefield transcends geographical boundaries and allows adversaries to strike at the heart of their opponent's infrastructure and institutions, with potentially devastating consequences. A successful cyber attack on critical infrastructure such as power grids, financial systems, or communication networks could cripple a nation's ability to function, sow chaos and panic, and undermine public trust in government institutions. The cyber warfare capabilities of South and North Korea present a fascinating asymmetry, often described as a David versus Goliath matchup. South Korea, with its advanced technological infrastructure, possesses significant cyber defenses and offensive capabilities. North Korea, despite its limitations, has developed a potent asymmetric capability in cyber warfare. South Korea's cyber defenses are among the most sophisticated in the world. North Korea's cyber units, trained in secrecy, conduct daring and disruptive cyber attacks. In a full-scale war between North and South Korea, the paramount concern is the staggering human cost. The Korean Peninsula, home to over 75 million people, would be engulfed in unimaginable devastation. Seoul, a megacity of over 10 million, lies vulnerable to North Korea's artillery. The opening salvos could unleash an inferno of destruction. North Korea's artillery could reduce neighborhoods to rubble, inflicting mass casualties. Seoul could be transformed into a scene of unimaginable carnage. The specter of a nuclear attack looms large, casting a long shadow. North Korea's nuclear weapons introduce an existential threat. A single nuclear detonation would unleash unimaginable destruction and radioactive fallout. The ramifications would trigger a humanitarian catastrophe. The wounded would overwhelm medical facilities. Survivors would face the daunting task of rebuilding amidst ruins. The psychological scars would linger for generations. Despite the ever-present tensions, a fragile peace has held on the Korean Peninsula for over 7 decades. The Armistice Agreement of 1953 has prevented large-scale hostilities. Continued dialogue and engagement are crucial for lasting peace. The international community plays a crucial role in fostering peace. Diplomatic efforts must prioritize persuading North Korea to abandon its nuclear ambitions. The pursuit of a diplomatic solution remains the most responsible course of action. Sanctions should consider their humanitarian impact. Sanctions often disproportionately affect the most vulnerable. The path to lasting peace will be long and arduous. Patience and good faith dialogue are essential. The alternative, a return to war, is unthinkable. The world deserves a future free from conflict, where peace prevails.